Well, on today's episode of Running It Back, I have a new guest joining me for a long form interview for the Rotten Tomatoes game and a talk about his history in comedy and beyond, as you'll see. Hey, if you are new to the YouTube channel, if you're new to my Running It Back network, please subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel. And as you will see, all my videos are up there. Currently, the Sunday Night Talk is running right now. I have a new interview, Running It Back, which you will hear right now. Not to mention, all my stand-up clips are on there. So check it out. Today on the show, Wesley Austin joins me. He is a comedian based out of Salt Lake City. He is a lawyer, and he has a very prominent YouTube page, which we get into on how he started it, how it grew, what the inspiration was it as well. Wes started comedy a little after I had moved to Los Angeles. And what I found interesting about Wes is he started comedy late, just like me. So we talk about that, balancing all the things in life into comedy. Not to mention we talk a lot about bombing. It happens. So everyone, sit down. Running It Back is here with my interview of Wes Austin. All right, joining me on the show today, he is a comedian, he is a lawyer, he is a YouTuber. Wes Austin joins me. Thanks for being here, Wes.
Thank you for having me, Patrick.
Absolutely. I was thinking about you and I because our paths crossed in a weird way because we both started comedy in Utah. However, we weren't really comedians at the same time. I was in the club and then I moved away. And that's about when you started doing the comedy. Am I wrong? 2014-ish?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's when I started, was 2014. And I'd heard your name. Your name was in the ether, floating around a little bit. And then I think there was a few times maybe Wise Guys Ogden. I think maybe we were on the same show at least a time or two. But yeah,
True.
you kind of moved up to LA, Burbank, the big time, and I'm in Utah still.
I took my talents to Burbank, Wes. I was like, this small town can't hold me. I'm going to branch out to all the cities like Van Nuys and Pacoima one day. And one day I will make $40. I was always very, very ambitious.
Now, did you grow up in Utah?
I grew up in West Texas. I grew up in
okay.
El Paso, Texas. I moved to Utah, to Salt Lake City in 2006. I was pursuing cycling. I wanted to be a professional cyclist. I got a spot on a semi-pro team based out of there. So I moved and I did it there and I traveled all over the country doing the races. But then it ended and I was like, well, I'm just going to stay and I'll just keep racing on my own dime and I'll get a job. And I ended up staying in Salt Lake for almost 10 years. And I started comedy somewhere in the middle there. But it's funny how much stand-up comedy mirrors cycling or the pursuit of cycling, because you're driving all the time. You're going to these races, you're going to shows you hear about. Sometimes they go good, sometimes they go bad. And you spend the whole ride back justifying how it went good on the way back. So it's a weird path how it mirrors. And that's how I ended up in Utah and loving living there for those 10 years. What about you?
Now,
Are you a native? Oh, go ahead.
oh, well, I was just going to say the one difference though is the biker shorts. Like you don't get to wear the biker shorts anymore. Not that I'm thinking about biker shorts. I shouldn't have even brought it up because now it's weird. But I have neighbors that do the cycling and they have the whole get up, they look very professional and there, but unless comedy, unless you wear that under, and maybe that gives you some confidence when you go on stage, knowing you have cycling shorts on. I don't know.
I didn't even think about that. I could wear the kit under my my jeans. Yeah,
well,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. It'll be really weird when I start putting the sunscreen on in the green room. That would be maybe a bridge too far. I might freak out fellow colleagues there. Yeah, it's an odd sport. I enjoy it. I still love it. I still do it. I still follow all the racing and stuff. But you're right.
Yeah.
Like when people see it, they're like, "Why you guys wear those tight shorts? Why are you always riding together? Why are your shoes making noise?" I have dealt with this since I was a teenager with my own family asking why I do the things I do. And it is really not explainable in any way at all. If you play high school basketball or football, you can explain that, I think, to most people. But cycling is very hard. And I think comedy is very hard to explain to people what a good show is, what a crappy show is, why you would be going to a certain show when you know it's going to be bad. And just the mystery of every single show you go into is like, I don't know what I'm going to see here. I don't know what's going to happen. Is this going to be a good crowd, bad crowd, no crowd? Am I going to have to scream? It's very similar to comedy in a way, in trying to explain it to people who have not been to a bunch of shows or have only seen it like on television.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess you can compare if you've had a terrible wipeout when you were cycling to bombing, maybe.
That's a good point. Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can find a lot of similars.
uh, those, uh, those terrible bombs that I've had. I mean, it's not like I almost have PTSD from them. Like if I start
Mm-hmm.
thinking about them too much, I go back. I'm like, yeah, I remember. No one was laughing. The
Mm-hmm.
clock literally stopped. I was like, please just let me get off without dying. And it was, yeah.
Your brain really removes itself from your body. I've
Yeah.
noticed, because you're in this point of heightened stress, but you can't
Yeah.
show it. You can't run away, although I have seen some people do it. And sometimes words start coming out of your mouth that you are not in control of. Like you're just motoring through the bit, but you're like, I am not in control of any of the words that I am saying. I'm just going to motor through to it. Like that's sort of what I've noticed. And sometimes I'll focus on the one person who kind of laughed, and we're like, just play to that person, play to that person. They like you. It is such a stressful environment. You can do a great psychological study on what your mind goes through while you're completely bombing. It's scary.
Yeah. I mean, I've had one where I was smiling and enjoying it because but it was because it was so bad. It
Mm-hmm.
was a corporate event with there were over 600 people in this huge ballroom, and they were very loud. They were all having a great time. A lot of drinks around, everybody talking at the tables, but the noise level was so high that when I got up on stage, like no one even noticed I was up there trying to, do my
Yeah.
set. And it was so bad that I was smiling and actually enjoying it just because I thought, oh, this is just
Mm-hmm.
beyond. So, and I felt good. Like, okay, I'm not really bombing because no one's even listening. Like, I don't think 98% of the people even know I'm up here. But that was one of the few times that it didn't go well that I actually was able to kind of smile a little bit. Usually I just cry a little bit inside when I'm like, oh man.
Mm-hmm.
What really is hard is when you get up and like the very first joke, you can tell like, oh crap. Oh
Yeah.
geez. This is going to be the longest 15 minutes of my life.
Right, right. Then you start doing the math in your head, how much time you're going to be up there, and you're like,
But yeah,
okay, I got to gut through
you
X
you
amount of
had
time.
you had plenty to do 15, and then when there's no one laughing, you're all of a sudden just going through I just did 25 minutes of material because there was like
Mm-hmm. You're just
so well.
motoring. I did one at a bar once, and they were playing pool. They were playing pool in the kind of in the back room, so it's way loud. And the MC goes up, the first guy goes up, and the pool's loud. No one can hear him. He gets off, and the MC goes, all right, everybody, could we knock off the pool just for the show? And the guys playing pool went,
Oh.
no. They just continued playing. They pool, and the MC went, all right, next up.
um
Well, let's go way back, Wes, because I want to know your story. Are you from Utah originally?
yeah, so I grew up in northern Utah, small town with one stoplight. I think it's grown and we have more than one now, but
Wow, what city was that?
Tremonton.
Oh, I don't know that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. It's very you if you drive up to Idaho from like the Salt Lake City area, you usually drive by it. A lot of people get gas there.
I see. Oh.
but yeah, it's a small town, and I grew up there, and basically I've been in Utah my whole life. I went to college at Utah State, law school. I have an electrical engineering degree that I got at Utah State, which is very useful for comedy, electrical
Mm-hmm.
engineering. Then law school at the U of U, University of Utah, which again, that's very beneficial for comedy, like a law degree and electrical engineering. Very funny
Mm-hmm.
people usually have those kind of degrees. I'm being sarcastic, but yeah, and
Well,
then
I
I
had
just
some
started
laughs in there, Wes.
practicing.
Don't worry about it.
Good. I hope you have some, but yeah, and then I started working here at law firms in Salt Lake, and then finally got up the courage to start doing stand up around 2014.
Where do you
Um,
think that comes from? Because I started stand up, I guess you would say at an older age. I was 30. And you hear people
okay,
start like when they were in college or like, oh, I always wanted to go up. I started later. You started later as well. Did
yeah,
you always have an interest in entertainment, movies, comedy? Was that in you pre doing stand up? What were you like as a younger Wes Austin?
yeah. So I always kind of liked trying to make things funny or things that were funny. I remember when I was little, Saturday afternoons, Abbott and Costello would come on. Have you ever seen any of their movies? I'm sure they're
I know the clips. I don't know if I know any movies per se,
a. So
but I know
I
the
would
who's on
watch.
first.
Yes, yeah. So I would watch those and thought they were hysterical. And then as I got a little bit older, I'd sneak downstairs and watch Johnny Carson to see his monologues and the comics that are on there. And so I always kind of wanted to do it, but it was mainly I was too scared to venture out because that's not really the responsible thing to do is be a comedian. That's not. Come on,
I
grow
see.
up. Seriously, grow
Really?
up. Don't do.
Where did you hear
So
that from though? Like, were you
well, I
saying that to
think
yourself or was this from somewhere else?
I think just kind of the culture and environment was always you're gonna get a good job as a doctor or a lawyer, make a lot of money, and that's what you do. And kind of anything in entertainment was really that. Well, I mean, maybe as a tiny hobby, but don't get weird, you know. So
I
so
see.
I just kind of always felt like that wouldn't be the responsible thing to do. So I was kind of scared to do it. In fact, so I first wanted to do stand up, and I found notes like I found old notebooks from when I was early 20s when I would write down bits. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
doing stand up at all. I wasn't even close to that, but I was still. I'd have something happen, and I would think, "Oh, that could be funny," and I would write it
Uh-huh.
down in my little secret book. But when Wise Guys opened, did they open like 2001? I don't remember when they opened, but it was soon after they opened. I actually went to a few open mics,
Mm.
and I was too scared to get up on stage, and so I stopped going. So that no, this is too. I'll do it later. I'm going to do it later when I
Yeah.
have enough. And then the late I just could never get around. I just was too scared to ever go do it. So then I thought I'm going to start doing some little funny videos. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what. Yeah, this is before YouTube, so that's how
Ah.
old I am. But so I started doing these little funny videos, and I mean, I thought they were funny. I'm sure they were stupid, but so I started getting a few out there. I'd put them on different sites, and one of my lawyer friends in Salt Lake became aware of that, and he called me to help me out and let me know that this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen and heard of,
Oh.
and if you want to get fired from your job and not be able to get a job anywhere else, not have any clients, just keep doing this, you idiot. Scared
Uh-huh.
the crap out of me. I deleted all the videos off of off of the web, didn't put anything out there, and then that just kind of scared me out of it again, which is good because I would have hated to have had a whole, big stack of videos to put on YouTube when that started, because that would have been terrible. Anyway, so
I see.
so I then it was like 2014 when I finally thought, all right, I'm gonna really start to do this. I just, you know. Life is short. But yeah, I was
Hmm.
older when I started trying to actually go do it.
I see. Yeah. What was the push? What put you over the edge to actually go sign up and go on the stage?
Well, okay, this is kind of embarrassing, but I kept thinking I should go do stand up, and it was like a little. I thought it was like a little thing to do, and I was too scared to do it. But I'm like, okay, I'll do that. I'll do that. And then I thought I had this idea. You know what? I should just write a web series about a patent lawyer who wants to be a comedian and film that and put it on YouTube, and
Hmm.
then I can start doing comedy, which is insane. It's insane, but for some reason that like swinging for the fences and just trying to do this big huge thing got me out of the office and actually doing something. So
Hmm.
that I kind of did that little web series, and at the same time, that's when I started going to do stand up.
Yeah. It sounds like there was
Yeah.
a lot in you. You want to do this web series, want to be expressive in that way. You like stand up. So growing up though, did you have siblings? Were your parents what did your
Oh yeah.
parents do?
So yeah, there were 8 kids in my family.
Wow.
My mom and dad that my dad taught school, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, just trying to keep the kids from burning the house down.
Yeah. Where are you in the eight kids?
I am in the younger group, so I am number 6
Yeah.
down, and then I have a little brother and a little sister. Um, no, I had my one older brother did try to do something in the entertainment industry. He wanted to be a rock star, and
Hmm.
he loved music. And so he actually ended up going down to LA, had his group, and they were trying to make it, and they think they had gigs at like the Troubadour, the Roxy,
Hmm.
um, I think the Country Club is what he called it. But Gazzari's, like they were doing
Hmm.
shows at some of the biggest clubs and coolest clubs in LA, and they didn't ever get a record deal. But that that also kind of inspired me to, you know what,
Yeah.
just do it. Just because I would ask him, and he would say, "I don't regret anything. I would absolutely do that again because that's what I wanted to do." And
Uh-huh.
so that kind of helped inspire me to finally not be afraid of like, if all the lawyers are going to fire me and not want to talk to me again, then okay, I guess that's what's going to happen because
Hmm.
I'm, I'm finally going to go and just do this. Yeah.
Yeah. So you saw a roadmap almost within your own family that of someone who ventured out of the one street town, the one stoplight town.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, that's something. That's something. But that doesn't really come to the surface till way later. When did you decided to go to law school? Did you always want to be a lawyer? How did that come to
um
be?
well, so when I was younger, I think it was mainly my parents who just were like, maybe mostly my dad, that okay, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer.
Hmm.
And then, so when I was probably like 12 or 13, I wrote those two things on my and put them on my wall. Here's my doctor track. I mean, what kind of psycho 12-year-old
Oh,
does this?
wow.
I had like the doctor track and the lawyer track,
Hmm.
listing down all the stuff I would need to do. And then as I got a little bit older, I realized I didn't like blood. Like I would get
Mm.
lightheaded, and
Oh,
like I thought, okay, so probably medical school is not.
all
I
right.
shouldn't do
No,
that
no on
because
the blood.
I don't want to pass out with patients. So I went
Hmm.
the patent lawyer route, and that's kind of, to be a patent lawyer, you have to have a technical undergrad. So that's what I have, the electrical engineering degree, and then I actually worked for Motorola as an engineer for a couple of
Ah.
years before I went to law school. So I did do something worthwhile as an engineer before I went to law school,
Hmm.
and just,
You know,
yeah.
I know a lot of friends of mine have become lawyers, and I actually know a few comics who are also lawyers as well. So it feels like I know a bunch of lawyers. So my question is, and take this in the spirit in which it's intended, is law school hard? I know so many people that have gone to law school, and some people I'm like, you graduated? What is law school like? How
Oh,
difficult is the regimen? Is there easier law schools? Are there harder law schools? What's
yeah,
going on?
man, I did not like. I really hated law school at first until I got used to it, because as an engineer, there was always an answer. Like, how many amps are going through this little resistor, or
Uh-huh.
what's the power dissipation? There's always an answer. Like, so you're
I
figuring,
see.
and when you go to law school, like, no, there's no answer. Just you're going to
Hmm.
argue based on whatever it is, that whatever position you need to take, you need to be able to argue both sides and articulate the issues on both sides.
Hmm.
and and it was just a weird, uh a weird funky change in mindset from engineering to law school.
Hmm.
um oh, and it was terrifying at first. It was a little bit like open mic, because they do for the first couple, maybe year or two, they would do the Socratic method, where they would just randomly call on somebody in class and then say,
Yeah.
okay, why don't you explain this case to everyone? And
Oh,
and
wow.
then, so when they called your name, it's like I had to just make sure I had my diaper on, because I loaded. It's so stressful. So every class, you're just like, oh, hoping. At
Oh,
least I
wow.
was like,
Yeah.
I did not. And you occasionally, you will eventually get called on, and then sometimes if the professors were in a particularly bad mood, they would stay on you for a while. No, what was this issue? Okay, well,
Wow.
why didn't they? And I'm like, oh, just leave me alone. Move on, just stop
Yes.
it.
That seems like a student's
So
worst nightmare. Like you don't want to
it,
be called on. You definitely don't want to be called on for technical explanation. That
yeah,
sounds very, very
and then
scary.
it, I hated it. And then later, like third year especially, and part of the second year, it just seems like that kind of Socratic method, they didn't really do that anymore. So I don't know if they were just trying to weed out first years or scare the
I see.
holy crap out of you. But I didn't. Yeah, I didn't like that.
Hey,
But once I got used to it, it was okay.
what about this idea? What if we take that same method and we start putting that into open mics? Like someone does their set and then we start asking questions as to why they said what they said and why that made any sense whatsoever. What if you became the professor of open mic, Wes, and you're like, objection, and then you ask, why would you ever compare your family to blank, the LA Dodgers? Go.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
and then they have to explain themselves. And then you banish them from the mic if you don't get the answer you like.
Oh man, I would be all powerful. I mean, that would be pretty wild. I hope
Yeah.
I could have robes and maybe sit on an
Ah.
elevated platform of some sort to just.
Oh, now we have
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Just I would like
yeah,
to
yeah.
give you one of those old-timey English wigs like they wear
Oh
in
yeah,
the parliamentary court system. That
yeah,
would be
yeah.
yeah. And then like if one of the comics says like, well, no, it killed yesterday or whatever, then you just go, be gone. And you kick them out. Like there's no explanation. Once your rule is set, the order must be done. And then like
Yeah, yeah,
one of the waiters will has to escort the comic off the stage.
yeah.
I would like to see that. I would definitely like to see that.
Now you said something interesting. You said you knew a number of lawyers who were trying to be comedians. Is that
Yes, I
right?
know. I know a bunch of comics who are also lawyers, and in my own friends, I have a bunch of friends who became. My high school is so weird. Everybody in
That's
my
fascinating.
yeah, everybody in my high school either became a lawyer or is in jail. So either they wanted to practice the law or break the law. It's my entire high school because my one of my good friends is a lawyer and he tells me, "Oh, guess who's doing federal time, dude? Guess who's got their third DUI? Guess who works with me in the law firm?" And it's all people we went to high school with. They're either in jail or they work in his law firm. I don't know where that comes from. So that's why I ask, like, is being a lawyer hard? Because I seem to know a lot of people who are lawyers, comics and non-comics.
Yeah, man, I know there's one other lawyer here in Salt Lake City who does stand up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know of him, but I didn't know. That's really interesting. I don't know, maybe there's a weird thing with law school and being a lawyer where you're
I think
just
there's
like,
something to the public speaking of it would be my guess. Listening to what my friend has to say, there's something to I tell me if this applies to you. There's something to the analytical approach to it as well of crafting something, crafting a thought, making an argument, and then presenting it out there. Do you think actually that lawyer background in you came through stand up?
well, yeah, I mean, I think to me, I think almost like the engineering and lawyer side, I can kind of feel that sometimes in my trying to make something funny because I'll try to be, I look at the analytics like, okay, if the premise was this, is that enough information? Or do I need to add a little parameter of information up front so that the audience will think
Yeah.
it's funny later? And so I think breaking it down, I can definitely see that kind of some of the lawyer and engineer parts of that coming out. And then sometimes I feel like I'm trying to be over analytical because there's sometimes I
Hmm.
go, I don't know why I'll be in the crowd watching a comic and he'll do something and the audience laughs and I don't get it. Like
Yeah.
I have no idea why they laughed. I don't really think I didn't get it, the premise. I don't know why, but it did. Have you ever had,
Hmm.
I don't know, there's sometimes where it's just like the formulas. Sometimes it's just something that doesn't fit any of the formulas.
Hmm.
Hilarious. Everybody's just
Yeah,
laughing
it
their
is
butt off.
very
I don't.
true. Comedy is very hard to quantify subjectively sometimes because you could read something on a page that is not funny at all, and then when you hear it spoken in the room in the right setting, it's the funniest thing you've
Yeah,
ever heard.
yeah,
So it's very unusual like that, and I liken it to almost like lightning. You will never have this crowd in the same room at the same time again, and sometimes it just works, and then sometimes it just does not, and you cannot explain it. I think that's the joy of the art form, is like we are here experiencing this, who knows what's going to happen, or sometimes you're like, sometimes you feel so comfortable with a comic on stage that you're like, just take me on the ride, I want to go on the ride. And sometimes you'll see a comic and you'll know as the audience, you don't know what you're going to say next, do you? I know you don't know what you're going to say. Sometimes the audience feels that too. It is a
yeah.
hard art form that is really, for me anyway, almost an exercise in leadership. You are on stage, you are the leader of that room. Is everybody going to go with you? Or are you going to have to win them over 15 minutes? Or are you going to have to convince them? Or are you never going to get them? you know? So it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
funny how you can see it sometimes instantly with the seasoned comic or someone who's just a gifted performer
That
on
you that
stage.
yeah, when you were talking about that, it's so interesting because I've had nights where I'm in the exact same club. I'll do the exact same set on a Friday
Mm-hmm.
night, and they are just like, it's okay, whatever, it's fine. And
Mm-hmm.
then Saturday night, the exact same club, exact same set, same lineup, and it does much, much better. I'm like, that's so bizarre because it's
Mm-hmm.
all the parameters are kind of fixed except for the audience. The audience was the thing that changed. I
Yes.
don't know. You just think statistically, oh no, it's going to be the same. But see, that's my nerd coming out. But I'm like, no, for some reason, this was a different animal than the other.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a horse or something. I don't. It's bizarre how sometimes something will normally work and then
Yeah.
it just does not work.
And we'll
Everything's
we'll
the
never
same.
figure it out, really. We'll just never really be able to put a finger on it, of
Yeah.
of how and why. And then we just
Yeah.
we just keep going. We keep turning those pedals, Wes. So now it brings us into comedy. You're doing comedy, but I wanted to talk about that short film series you talked about a little bit at the beginning, where you were doing the film. You almost did it like a sitcom or a series where you were a lawyer trying to be a comedian. Do I have it right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I
And
think
you did a
it's
series of little sketches of yourself. Is that right?
well, I did like two short seasons, um, like 5 episodes in each season, and they're about like 20, 25 minutes long each. So it's on YouTube. It's called the IP section. Not that many people have seen it.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I wrote that, filmed it, hired people. I guess when some people have a midlife crisis, they buy a Porsche. I did
Hmm.
not do that. I made the most expensive home video you can imagine. That's what I did instead. But and yeah, I put it on YouTube, and it's kind of a autobiographical look at me trying to get into stand up. We actually,
Hmm.
I filmed it. We didn't film it. We filmed it in our same building, so it's like a lot of the things you see in there are very close to my actual life as a patent lawyer. So
I see.
anyway, but it did help me. That really helped kick my butt into going and trying to express this creativity and
Hmm.
comedy that I've wanted to do. It helped get me out of the freaking office, and I started doing something. Maybe if you do
Hmm.
something just crazy enough, you're like, okay, I'm not worried about what anybody thinks about me doing stand up, because I already did this completely insane
Yeah.
web series that, I mean, I had a wonderful time, and I still really enjoy it. I thought it was a fun show to do. We had one clip, I think on Facebook has 18 million views or something. So I know at least I've written
Wow.
some things that are funny that people think are funny. So,
Hmm. It's out there,
but
people.
it's out
Wes
there.
is kind of funny.
It's it could have been an accident. It could have just been, if you look at the odds, I
Hmm.
failed so many times in all the rest of the show that one short 2-minute segment actually was funny. But yeah, it's
And
called it's called Pads. If you want to look it up on Facebook or on, it's just called Pads, the IP section. I think it's good. I'm barely in it.
mm.
In that particular
Oh,
story,
really?
you
Uh-huh.
see my face for just a few seconds, but well, okay, 10 seconds. But
So you wrote it and seemingly you're in it, you're like directing it and editing it, all this stuff. You did everything for it.
um, so I wrote it. Um, I directed most of it, and I was in it. I didn't do the editing, so I hired somebody who's an editor to go through and
Hmm.
edit it. And we hired some film people here in and around Salt Lake City to film it and do the lighting and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So it
So
was
this was a big production. You really put a lot into it.
yeah, I kind of went all out, and
Hmm.
which you could tell because people at the time were like, okay, all right. I'm sure they're thinking like, he's lost his mind. I'm like, okay, probably. Yeah. So, but yeah, we kind of went all out on it and just,
Why do you think you were inspired to do that? Like it seems like quite the commitment. You hadn't done stand up yet, but you're like, I got to do this, God damn it, and you put everything into it. Like, where do you
I,
think that came from?
I look back at it and I think, were you insane, Wes? What were you doing? It was an exciting idea to do it. It got me writing stuff. It got me out of my
Mhm.
office and doing it. But it was clearly insane. Like looking back, I go like, Wes, you were never, you thought you were going to do the show and you're going to get picked up by NBC and be Seinfeld? Is that what you?
Yeah,
Come on, no, that's
yeah.
so
I think
unreasonably
we all,
insane.
yeah, I think we all say those things to ourselves, Wes. Like 5 years, I said like 5 years ago, like, what did I think was going to happen? Oh, I remember thinking what I thought would happen. That's insane. Why would I
Yeah,
think that? Like, we all have this delusion in our brains. Speaking for myself, with the like, our ambition is: do I have ambition or do I have delusion? I don't know, but I kind of got to find out, And I've seen it here. I lived in LA a long time. I've seen the blue collar side of entertainment where you see someone who has lived here 2 or 3 years and they are full of energy. They've got all the hustle, like whatever it takes. And then I saw the person who had been here 10 years plus and they were still cranking away, but didn't have anything in the hopper, didn't really see like anything like on the horizon. But I'm like, okay, there's that side that we never hear about. The person who's like, I'm just going to work my part-time job or my regular job and I'll do this on the side. And eventually, I'll figure it out when I figure it out. I never knew that side existed. I thought you either came and you achieved something or you burned out in flames and went home. The middle of it is super fucking scary. A lot of times you're like, oh, you could just be doing these little shows forever and just be plugging away. And I guess we all find our own little piece with it of like what we enjoy, what we can put our sights on, what we can pursue. And I think a lot of people have that. Wes, you're like, I'm going to try and achieve my goals. And I'm going to start with my video. I'm going to start with this show, whatever, something like that. It seems like you and I have that in common. We're like, I got a few goals and I got to put pen to paper right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Reps.
It was kind of a, reality came crashing down a little bit after I got done with the show. I thought, okay, now I'm gonna get my agent. This will be easy.
Uh-huh.
So I started, so I started sending emails to all sorts of agents and agencies in LA. Of course, most of them I got back the we don't accept anything unsolicited. I tried to send stuff to networks and cable channels and
Mm-hmm.
streaming. All of those, I would get back, we don't accept unsolicited submissions. And I'm like, wait a minute, what the crap's going on? Like, I can't, none of these agents or agencies will talk to me because they don't accept anything. You guys don't accept anything. What's the trick here? So I thought,
Yeah.
oh, this is pretty. And I had one. There was one guy who wanted to have a call with me, and he basically just we got on the phone and he just says, "This is insane. You don't. This is not how it works. You start off by if you're going to write something, you write something, and then you give that to somebody else who maybe can use it or not use it, but you don't just write stuff and do it, and then you make your thing and think you're just going to." Anyway, he
Mm-hmm.
he definitely kind of laid it down like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, that was anyway, he was yeah, it was but that was brutal, and so that's when I thought, okay, I'm just gonna put it on YouTube. We'll see if anybody
Mm-hmm.
likes it, and kind of that's where it is right now.
It's such a hard industry because really nobody knows how it works. Nobody knows what do I do day one? What do I do day 10? Nobody knows. You just hear everybody's random luck stories of how
Yeah.
they got a role from an audition or this booker saw them. And you're like, okay, that seems like one in a million. But those, I mean, here in LA, people break, probably 100 people break a year. Okay, but that's out of 10 million. So it is an impossible roadmap that there really is no freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. You just go and you just try and put it out there. And now you have the option of like the YouTubes of the world where you don't have that barrier of entry anymore. You can make a video and everybody is essentially some sort of good film editor in their own little apartment these days and you put it out there. So it's weird that the barrier entry is gone. However, it is still a saturated market of content.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
It's just how the industry evolves, how we consume entertainment, I guess, or how we discover people. Like remember comedies, you would go to Comedy Central and you would watch stand up. You would watch little bits of stand up. And I think now you just go to YouTube and you type in comedy or you type in a name and you're like, let's see what they got. Let's see if anything's up here. And sometimes it's a shitty
Yeah.
video and sometimes it's a really good video. And
Yeah, I
you
think
find it.
I remember watching, was it Premium Blend? I don't even know if they
Yes.
still have that.
I
But
watched Premium Blend. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, I remember, okay, there's going to be some great stand up. I'll watch some Premium Blend, have a bunch of small little, bits. And yeah, you're right. Now it's like you're going to flip on YouTube or pull up Instagram or
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, and you're going to see like a gazillion just flying by.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I remember
And what,
Premium Blend was, yeah, you would kind of watch a few comics and they were curated. There'd be, the energetic comic, there'd be like the docile comic. You just say like, oh, I'll just see what they got. And you just kind of watch it. That's where I discovered a lot of comedians early, my early days of like what I liked and didn't like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's I don't know, whenever I get excited, really excited about a bit or something that I think, okay, this is gonna kill. and I might do something and then put out my story or whatever. They usually always flop and don't do anything. So I try to not
Mm.
have any confidence in because I do all those little videos, and if I get too excited about one joke, like it's gonna don't
Mhm.
because it will. I don't know if it's just me or what, but whenever I think this one's gonna do really well, like it just
Right.
will fall completely flat. No one even clicks on it. I go, that's frick. So I don't know. To me, it's been more
Hmm.
of a just keep churning stuff out. It's kind of a numbers thing, and sometimes I'm going to have things that people think are funny, and most of the other times they're just going to go, "That was so dumb," and I might even get a DM from somebody who's like, "That was so bad that I'm going to take some
Oh.
time and send you a message on how much you suck." So, and I'm like, "Oh, thanks. I
Oh.
appreciate you taking time out of your schedule."
Oh man,
Wow,
a
that must have
DM to tell me I
been.
suck.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, I try not to look at comments because some of those are pretty brutal. But when somebody goes out of their way to DM me, I'm like, and even once in a while I'll get an email, which is a little bit
Oh.
scary. Like I almost feel like that person might be showing up at my house the next day. So
Hmm.
I don't like it when I get mean emails because I think they really did some digging.
Yeah. Well, how are you with comments and emails and DMs? Are you a thin-skinned person, or do you feel like you're pretty tough, but the wrong email will get through? Because I think I'm tough. Like I think we all think we're tough until someone gives us the feedback we don't like, and then we're like, "Fuck you! Why'd you say
Yeah,
that?" You
yeah.
know. Here's the weirdest thing you can say to a comic after a set is when you finish the set, and then the comic says to you, "How long you been doing it for?" Nothing good ever comes from that because they either,
Yeah.
"Hey, that wasn't so bad. You've only been doing it a short amount of time," or, "Wow, you've been doing it that long and that's how bad you are." Nothing ever good comes from how long you've been doing it
Yes.
for.
And I've had both of those exact things happen to me where yeah, like neither of them make me feel better about my stand up. I've also had somebody they'll be telling after the show you're kind of hanging out with the comics and they will tell the one, "Great set, you were so funny." And then the other one, "Oh, I loved your bit about this." And then they get to me, "Your smile is great."
Oh yeah,
Oh.
yeah. The receiving line.
Okay. That's
Or
okay. Thanks for my smile. That was
mhm.
obviously my material was the worst, but I guess they like my smile. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, where I think, oh
Yeah, I got
man.
a keep plugging away once from someone. It was like, "Hey, good bit, good bit, good show, good job. Hey, keep plugging away up there." I'm like, "Oh, I gotta get drive through on the way home if I'm gonna
I
save this night."
yeah. It's oh man, but you can always tell. Yeah, you can always tell. It's like nice. Once in a while, you get something nice, which is good because I will live on those for
Mhm. That's
quite a
true.
while. Like, hey, that one person, 3 weeks ago, they actually said they thought I was good. So
Mm,
I'm gonna go back to that well a number of times.
yeah. I always joke stand up is the most idiotic thing, like as a performer, because we think of the bit, we write the bit, we perform the bit, we see how it does on stage, and the second we get off stage, the first thing we ask is, "How'd I do?" We have no idea how we did. We need
Yeah,
we need the response. It is a lifelong journey of we don't really even know how we did. We have no clue.
yeah. And if those bad sets, like if I have a bad set on a Saturday night, like for the next 4 or 5 days, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing. I should just. And if you have a good one, then you're like, okay, things aren't that things. I think it's going okay. But even
Mhm.
I'm such a psycho. Even those, if I feel like a decent set. My mind is so over analytical. Later, I'm like, do you think they were laughing because they really thought that was funny, or is it just like
Yeah,
they
you
were in a
just
good
don't
mood
know.
because the night was fun, or like, and
Mhm.
there's like, oh my word, don't.
Yeah.
It's
It
yeah,
is it is
it's
very hard psychologically. Also, I think the hard part I always had in Utah, you're living weekend to weekend. Is really your only chance of performing. So if you do good or you do bad, you got to live with it for the whole week and try and rebound there. There was a point here in LA, if I had a show, I had to bomb before the show. I was like, I got to find a place and I got to bomb. I just want to get it out of my system because I know I'm going to bomb, but I might as well do it at a place where the stakes are lower. So let me try and get my bomb out of the way. And then hopefully the show that I'm going to do will be better. That was my goal. That was my little trick. I mean, Tom Brady has his own special trainer that gives him advice. That was my advice. Like, go bomb and then you'll be good. That was my
And
goal.
did that help? Like, because you felt like you were, like you couldn't get worse. And
I
then
felt
we're
like I
like,
was free. I was free, Wes.
okay,
It was like blowing your nose. I got to get all this out of me, and then I'll be good. I mean, it didn't. I will
uh,
say, it didn't really work all the time.
okay.
That was my mindset. I was like, if you bomb before the show, well, you can't bomb two times in a row, can you? That was my genius thought process. I'll be teaching a comedy class, everyone. Make sure and bomb before your show and always ask how you did. Well,
There
you
was
go ahead.
I had one. I remember one thing that still gives me PTSD. It was an open mic from years ago, but for some reason, when I went up, the mic came out of the little cord that plugs
Mm-hmm.
in, and so it was a packed open mic. It was at Wise Guys in Salt Lake, which you probably know is like an incredible open mic, just
Mm-hmm.
insanely. But so I just had to put the mic back in, right? Plug it in. I could not plug it in. I'm standing there, everybody's watching me not be able to plug it in. I think I was up there for probably 30 or 40 seconds trying to plug it in. And at
Hmm.
one point I tell the crowd, it doesn't fit. Come on, everybody knows it because it was just working. Anyway, I finally got it plugged in. That was horrific. I still relive that sometimes where I'm like, well, that was a bomb. They didn't laugh, but at least you didn't try to tell everyone it won't plug in when they
Mm-hmm.
all saw it plug in before and right after. And you didn't look like a complete moron by trying to say, no, now magically the physical proportions have changed and it won't fit.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that
You
was
know
one of the
what?
worst.
You know what young comics should be taught? I try and tell this to everybody. Nobody listens to me. When the little plug falls out of the mic, think of a line to say that is funny, right? However, do it before the plug falls out of the mic because at some point, every comic that is going to happen to. The plug is going to fall out of the mic. So think of the line now. So when it does happen, you're ready for it. It
Yeah.
is going to happen because we've all heard the comic go like, oh, put it in, or the crowd yells out, put it in the hole, or I can't get it in the hole. It's like this funny kind of sexual double entendre. I've seen seasoned comics, like doesn't affect them at all. They just go on, or they're like, don't worry, they do it. I've seen comics come up with the funniest line on the spot before, and you're like, oh, this has happened to this guy before. He's prepared. He knows what to do. So think of the line now. And then next time it happens, you'll be ready. Kind of like when the glass falls down or the checks come or something, you're prepared because it is going to happen to every single comic at some point. Beyond that, I have no thoughts on the matter. Sorry, I
Yeah,
went on I went on a rant there.
no, no. You're totally right. I wish I would have been contemplating this is going to happen at some point.
Right.
Don't lose your mind. Honestly, I would have probably practiced at home with the mic and a thing, plugging it in, just
Yeah.
so that I felt more confident that I could
Mm-hmm.
plug it in. I still don't know what happened because it's not that hard, but for some reason I
Right.
failed over and over and over again trying to put it in.
You'll be ready next time, Wes. You'll be ready.
Yeah, I will be ready. I also had one time where somebody had put the mic in the stand so hard, like they crammed it
Oh,
in.
yeah. That's another one.
Uh,
Yeah.
Have you had that? And I got up there and I didn't, like, I finally had to jerk it out so hard that I thought I was gonna break my teeth, but that was another terrible one too. I
Mm.
don't know if the guy did it on purpose or what, but it was jammed in there like you can't believe. I don't like that either.
These are the little things we have to go against is mic
I know,
stand
no,
problems.
they sound so dumb, but like when everybody's just watching you, you're like, uh-oh, this is
Hmm.
bad.
Yeah, yeah. Mic stand problems, microphone problems, fajitas being ordered. It's a war zone out there. All right, you mentioned YouTube because what I've noticed, you have gotten quite the following on YouTube lately. Your
Oh,
channel has so many subscribers, and you're doing something that I like the most is when a comic takes their area of expertise other than comedy and makes something out of it. Like we've heard comics talk about comedy a million times, but it's nice to hear someone talk about something they know of other than comedy and put their spin on it. So tell me about the YouTube channel and the videos you do.
so yeah, that started, it's probably 2 or 3 years ago. I've been on YouTube for probably 5 years, but
Mm-hmm.
nothing I was posting would really hit. And then after, it's probably like 3 years ago or something, I started doing some videos on, I just touched on, I think I called them legal briefs, where it was some topic in the news that had some kind of legal angle. And I would do a little video on that. And I noticed they started getting actually a little traction, which was
Mm-hmm.
what the crap's happening. Somebody actually watched a video of mine. And so I started focusing more on that. And then I just noticed that when I did I started doing a few shorts, YouTube shorts, so less than 60 seconds and formatted kind of portrait for your phone. They got a lot more traction than any of my
Mm-hmm.
other videos. And they weren't like millions of views. It was just like maybe 1,000 views or something. But back then for me, that was insane. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just kept doing that. And then I started doing 3 or 4 of these YouTube shorts a week where I'm looking at the headlines, reading the news all the time, and I try to come up with a joke. So I'm giving the news and then making a joke at the end, kind of like Weekend Update or
Ah, yeah.
yeah, kind of like that. And I really enjoyed that kind of stuff. And so when that started getting a little bit of traction, I was pretty excited because I thought, oh, I enjoy doing it. It's fun. And somebody will actually watch it. So
Mm-hmm.
then I've just been pretty much doing nothing but those little headline jokes ever since then. And kind of from a conservative angle, I I am conservative, but I figure also the other side is completely covered by all of Hollywood. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so I was trying to just take this other side, which I felt like there was kind of a little niche that not a lot of people were doing. So and it's so far it's been doing okay. I think
Yeah.
I passed 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, which was unimaginable. I just couldn't even. That's completely insane. But I'm just going to try to keep it going if I can and keep pushing on it.
Yeah. Tell me how YouTube works essentially. It seems like the big first barrier to break is that 1,000 subscriber mark. And then after
Yeah.
the 1,000 subscriber, your videos can be monetized. Do I have that right?
See, I think that's right, but like my problem was with YouTube Shorts. For the longest time, YouTube discounted any of that watch time because I think you need
Mm-hmm.
like a
Yes, you need a
thousand
few things. You're
subscribers
right.
and then
Yeah.
so many thousand hours of public watch time, and YouTube was discounting my watch time.
I
They
see.
wouldn't count it because they were shorts. I was well over what was required normally, but because they wouldn't count any of my shorts watch time, I was kind of screwed. But then
Mm-hmm.
I was earlier this year, YouTube finally started paying out on shorts. So I was
I
finally
see.
monetized and able to start to get a little bit of, I mean, I'm not making a whole lot, but I am making a little bit off of YouTube right now. So,
I
and yeah,
see.
I mean, I remember it like being in the hundreds of subscribers forever. I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
get subscribers to save my life. And then I gradually started growing once I started posting, I think 3 or 4 times a week. I started getting, and then when I really started focusing on the headline joke stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I started going a little bit faster, and it's been a pretty steady, a pretty steady linear growth. But I
Yeah.
can tell, like like you can tell when YouTube uh, puts your stuff out in the ether and when it doesn't, because when I look at
I
the
see.
analytics, I'll just see a spike upwards, and then
Mm-hmm.
on some videos it'll just be flat. So
Yeah.
you can really tell like what if the algorithm doesn't like something or if it does,
Interesting.
because
Yeah.
you'll see a weird things that statistically shouldn't happen like that. It's clearly YouTube changing something in the like one of the weirdest things I've seen was I did a video on Kim Kardashian. Her like she did some campaign about meat. It was like a product that wasn't meat but looked like meat.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this thing where she pretended eating it on on the
Mm.
commercial, and you could tell she didn't really take a bite, but she pretended, and it was so stupid.
Ah,
But so I did a video on that, and like that one did okay, and then it kind of flattened out, and then I think a few months later there was a spike again, and then it was flattened out, and then there was a third spike, and so I thought,
weird.
okay, that's clearly YouTube. I don't know if Kim Kardashian was in the news again, and that was what was causing the.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but it's pretty interesting to just watch and see how those algorithms work
Yeah.
on
Yeah, we're really
stuff.
living in this world where we don't see behind the curtain of what actually gets pushed out to the public, what doesn't. I mean, the old days, we all watched TV at the same time. We knew what was on TV.
Yeah.
We all watch our own stuff and we just all assume our screens look like everyone else's screens, but they do not. And I don't know that anybody really knows how it all works, but some people are consistently successful about it, and yours has been done a really good job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel like the headlines with the jokes and the current headlines, I think those current events generally for has kind of pulled up my views, and I more consistently at least get I'm in the thousands of views on the videos when I post them, which
Uh-huh.
I'm really happy with. But that's kind of the stuff that I'm trying to just keep doing. If I okay, this is working, I'm getting some more followers. I'm just gonna not change anything. I'm just gonna keep
I
posting
see.
that.
Just keep it going. Where would you like the channel to go? Is there some big picture in the sky? Do you want the sitcom sketch series to catch fire, go viral, Wes? Late
Oh,
bloomer, Wes?
actually, I would love to be able to grow my channel so that I can do longer like some longer videos about longer stories. And I'm starting to do some longer videos now, like once a week. I'm trying to post one that's a little bit longer,
Mhm.
but there's still headlines where I'm sticking in jokes. And probably my goal after that would be that I can actually interview somebody, every couple of weeks or something, have an
I see.
interview on something, and then put that out there, and maybe also do that as a podcast as well. So I'd
I
like to
see.
kind of
Yeah.
have I guess if you look at the Daily Show with Jon Stewart from forever ago,
Mhm.
those kind of components I would love to have. So maybe a few sketches, still a bunch of current event things, and then maybe an interview with somebody too. That would be
Uh-huh.
that would kind of be my dream.
Yeah. Well, you already got the office for it. I'm looking at you right now.
Yeah.
He's ready. He's ready, everybody, to interview people. Well, Wes, I always like to wrap up my interviews with the Rotten Tomatoes head to head movie game. Of course, this is themed to
Okay.
you, Wes,
Okay.
the lawyer comedian YouTube. So, the way the game works is I'm going to give you a description. And when you think you know the movie, yell it out. You can score a point that way. And then we're going to put the two movies head to head, and you got to guess which one has the higher Rotten Tomatoes
Okay.
score. And your theme is movies that involve a lawyer. So,
Okay.
all right, I got to practice one for you to warm yourself up. All right.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to read you the description and you yell it out when you think you know it. So here we go. Practice, no pressure. Don't even worry about it. This is just Wednesday, open mic. It's 7:15 p.m. Crowd is still sitting down. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry. No one's going to ask you how long you've been doing it for. All right. Description. A boozing lawyer takes on a law firm dean, the archdiocese, and the city of Boston itself.
Okay.
Hmm.
crap. This sounds familiar. The setup sounds familiar. Boozing lawyer. Dang it. I knew I was going to fail this.
That's a practice
No,
one.
no.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Practice. All right. The answer is from 1982, The Verdict.
Oh,
Paul Newman.
that makes me so mad because I actually watched that recently.
Oh, really? Yeah, you should have got that.
Yes.
That's a practice one. You got a little like Paul
Ah,
Newman look as well, Wes. Everyone told you kind of look like Paul Newman.
yeah, actually, I've had that a few times, and I think this is probably, I don't know, a couple years ago or something. I met Mark Norman at Wise Guys back there.
Mhm.
And he's like, "You've got a Paul Newman look." So I've heard that a few
Yeah.
times, and that's the reason why I watched that freaking Paul Newman movie. I'm
Yeah.
so mad I
Yeah.
missed it.
Well, Paul Newman, Wes Austin
Jeez,
doing open
that
mics and
makes.
making salad dressing. All right. That was a good practice. So here's your second
uh,
movie. See if you can guess this one. A military lawyer specializing in plea bargains must defend a murder case. When he is convinced to actually pursue the case, he attempts to uncover the conspiracy at the highest level.
oh wait, is this the Tom Cruise one? A
Come
few
on,
good.
Wes, yell it out.
Is
You
it
got it. Yes, you
a few
got it.
good men?
You good men.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So here's your practice.
Jeez.
The
Okay.
Verdict versus A Few Good Men. Which one has the higher Rotten Tomato score for practice?
Oh, Rotten Tomatoes. Well, I would say A Few Good Men.
Okay. The Verdict is 89%. A Few Good Men is 84%. Very close.
Ah,
Very close.
okay.
All right. That was the practice one. Now I think you know how the game works.
Okay,
All
okay.
right. Let's see how you do here. We've had a near perfect score, and we have actually had a 0 scored on this game before. So let's see how you do, Wes. I feel confident. I think now that you got the practice out of the way. All right, here we go. Yell it out when you know it. An aspiring Florida defense lawyer accepts a high powered position at a New York law firm. As he moves up the ranks, he and his wife experience several frightening, mystical experiences that begin to warp their reality. With each case, the stakes get higher, and the young, promising lawyer learns his mentor might be something beyond the moral world.
Oh, right. This is Keanu Reeves, right? Um,
Wes, I am the judge. I cannot give you the answers. I am in my judicial robes. I cannot tell you.
I know it's a Keanu. I think it's a Keanu Reeves one. I'm picturing it. The name. Is it The Advocate?
Come on,
No,
Wes,
that's not it.
dig a little deeper. You're very close. Did you see this movie?
Yeah.
Okay, you saw the
Yes.
movie.
Al Pacino, right? Isn't this one with Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves?
Okay, you're on the right track.
Do I get any points for? Okay,
For gritting your teeth, yeah, I'm going to give you half a point for that, Wes.
but for knowing some of the actors, wait, is it The Devil's Advocate?
You got it from
Oh, geez.
1997. You're on the board.
Okay.
1997,
All
The
right.
Devil's Advocate. Keanu Reeves has a Southern accent in this movie for some reason. And Al Pacino is the devil. I remember seeing this movie and we were like, what the hell is this?
I remember The Devil's Office was incredible.
Oh,
I don't know if you
yeah.
remember
Yeah.
that thing, but insane. I was like, wow. I don't know.
Mhm.
That was probably a green screen, but very impressive.
Yeah, he had a pretty impressive office and the big old desk and the painting like came to life or something. It was a very like strange concept of a movie.
Yeah. I should probably watch that again, actually.
Yeah.
Keanu, I mean, everybody loves Keanu Reeves, right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can't remember if this was pre-Matrix or after the Matrix. 90, I think that was after then. 97. So this was post-Matrix Keanu. Weird choice.
Wow.
Hmm.
I was going to guess pre-Matrix, but I
No,
clearly
well, 90.
I'm
No,
not good
maybe
at
I'm
this.
wrong. No, yeah, I might be wrong. Maybe Matrix was 99. Hmm.
You're a much better movie buff than I am, so we
Hmm.
should rely on your knowledge.
What if we find out Keanu Reeves didn't even have a Southern accent in this movie? I'm just misremembering it all. Okay, well, you're on the board, Wes. You got 1 point there. All right,
Sweet.
here's the next one.
Okay.
Shout it out. A young woman wants nothing more than to be engaged, but there's one thing that's stopping the future groom from proposing: the color of the woman's hair. She rallies all of her resources and gets into Harvard to win him back. Wes looking very, very perplexed by that description. What's going through your head? Is this ringing a bell at all?
Man, no, it's not ringing a bell at all. It probably should. You probably would have picked one that I at least should know.
Let me offer you a small hint of why you should know this. You have daughters, right, Wes?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
they
Three
know
daughters.
this. They know this movie. How old? What's the
Oh,
age
wait.
range?
They're in their 20s.
They probably know. They know this movie, Wes.
Wait a minute. Is this like one of those
Hmm.
oh,
Wes is deep in
is
thought.
is this it's a more comedic movie?
Wes, I'm the judge. I can't give you
Okay.
these answers.
Jeez. Um,
Pat, what's the title of this movie?
no, I'm just I,
I'll go with you. I'll go with you on that. Yeah, I think you would call this a comedy.
I know there's some movie with Reese Witherspoon, but I don't know what I don't even know what I just know like I think they filmed some of it in front of the Capitol in Utah. I think girls like it. I don't know. I don't know if I've but I don't know if that's it.
Come on, dig it out. What do you got? I need an answer, Wes. Counselor, I need your response.
And it's probably not even it. I'm probably thinking of some other movie, but I can't think of the I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm failing, Patrick. Jeez.
The answer from 2001, Legally Blonde.
Oh my crap. Was this the one with
Come on. Okay. How did you not get this one, Wes? How did you?
Okay.
How can this be? All right. You can rally this round because now your matchup is The Devil's Advocate versus Legally Blonde. Which one has the higher Rotten Tomatoes score?
Well, probably Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde. Okay. Final answer. Is that right? Going Legally Blonde?
Yeah.
Okay. The Devil's Advocate, 63%. Legally Blonde, 71%. You're right, Wes. You got it.
Okay, good.
At
least I got that. At least I got that. Okay.
Excellent round. All right, 2 more. Now they're going to get tough, Wes. All right.
Oh my gosh, now they're going to get tough. Jeez.
I run a tight ship over here at the network. Okay, here we go. 4 teenage boys are sent to reform school for a prank gone wrong. Their experience is traumatizing and horrific. Now grown up, 2 of them recognize their past abuser and exact revenge. Their trial is prosecuted by another member of their gang who is now an assistant DA. Now, remember the theme. This is lawyer-based.
Okay.
We got teenage boys, reform school, prosecuted by a member of their gang who is now an assistant DA. You look more perplexed than Legally Blonde. Well, I'll give you a hint. Your daughters definitely did not see this movie.
Okay. So it's got to be a little bit.
I don't even think anyone had blonde hair in this movie.
Oh my gosh, Patrick.
Nothing. Non-answer. Are you pleading the fifth?
I don't have any clues. I'm sorry. I clearly need to watch more movies. I really don't.
All right. The answer is from 1996, Sleepers. Did you ever see Sleepers?
Oh, I don't think I did.
Ooh, I would not watch this movie with your daughters. It's a little traumatic.
Okay.
It's a little dark. I think Kevin Bacon is in it. Jason Patrick, Brad Pitt. It's a pretty good movie, but it is dark.
Okay. I don't feel too bad because I haven't seen it.
Okay.
If I would have seen it and not, I'm failing. Holy crap! This is.
All right. Well, hold on. You got another one.
Cross-examined. I'm getting cross-examined right now.
I told you I run a tight ship. I'm going to pull that cord out of the microphone in a second. All right. I have a feeling you're going to get this one. I think this one's up your alley.
Okay.
All right. A young lawyer joins a small but prestigious law firm only to find out one of their clients is on the wrong side of the law. When the FBI comes calling to investigate, the lawyer is caught between a rock and a hard place, juggling his life and his liberty.
Oh, that's the firm.
From 1993, the movie is The Firm. You got it.
Okay. Yes. All
Yes,
right.
no hesitation on that. That was good.
Okay. Whew. All
Very
right.
good. That was the era where we were really obsessed with courtroom dramas. Like there was a book. I mean, this movie isn't even in a courtroom. And we're like, I can't get enough Tom Cruise running.
Yeah, John Grisham was, I mean,
Mhm.
everything he wrote. I don't know. They were all, didn't they make a bunch of those blockbuster
There was a
movies
lot
off
of
of
them.
his
You're
books?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
yeah,
every 8 months, there was another one. And we're like, what is it about? I don't care. I'll go see it.
yeah. And we would just go.
We would just go. And we're like, what was that about? Like this, I've seen The Firm. It's a little over my head. I don't know what the hell's going on. Ed Harris has a shaved head. Wilford Brimley is killing people. I don't know what's going on, but I know this movie was good at some point, and I will watch it. And Tom Cruise does a backflip in it.
Yeah, Wilford Brimley. He was
Yeah,
usually he's a nice old guy, and in that one, he
he's
was like
evil.
their enforcer, scary guy who, yeah,
Like there's the
yeah,
part where like he shows Tom Cruise of pictures of Tom Cruise having the affair. It's like, look at these pictures. You're doing immoral things. And you're like, wow, I never heard the Quaker Oats guy talk like this. This is
yeah, yeah.
weird.
Oh, and Gene Hackman was great in that too,
Gene
right?
Hackman,
He was,
excellent.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right, you knew I
That
knew you would know this one. So,
okay.
all
I'm
right,
so glad. Okay.
keep your lawyer hat on. So, the movies are Sleepers versus The Firm.
The firm.
You sound confident. I like that.
Yeah, that was such a big movie. There's no way. There's no way it's not the firm.
All right, Sleepers, 73% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Firm, 76. You got it, Wes. 4
Holy
points
crap!
on the board. That was a tight
I
one.
can't. I can't believe it was that tight between that. Though, okay. I thought the
Mhm.
firm would be at least a good
Yeah, that's
solid
true. That
10.
is a fairly low score for a movie I thought was universally liked. Hmm.
Yeah, that's that was a close call. I am kind of yeah, that was
Maybe the critics were put off by Wilford Brimley taking taking photos through a window of two people getting it on, doing immoral things.
Yeah.
All right, last matchup, Wes. Here we go. Bring it home.
Okay.
The mic is ending. The crowd is
Okay.
shuffling. You got to bring this baby home. You got to land the plane. Here we
Okay.
go. Ah, a conniving attorney is an ace in the courtroom, but his dishonesty and devotion to work ruin his relationships. His wife has left him. He constantly breaks commitments to his beloved son. When his son makes a birthday wish that his dad can only be honest, it comes true, and on the day of a career deciding court case.
Oh, liar, liar.
From 1997, the movie is Liar, Liar. Got it.
Yes.
Height of the
Okay.
Jim Carrey movie heyday.
That was such a good movie.
Yeah, I think I saw that one in the theater. That was a big deal. Jim Carrey in a suit, courtroom. Excellent, excellent movie. All right, you're on
Yeah.
the ball. You're on the ball on that one.
Okay.
All right, here we
Okay.
go. Last description. Fearing it would compromise his career as a lawyer, he hides his HIV status. When his secret is exposed, he is fired shortly after. He decides to sue for discrimination and teams up with the only lawyer willing to help.
Is that Philadelphia?
1993, the movie's Philadelphia. You got it.
Okay.
Seems like you were not
All right.
100% on that one, but you pulled it out.
Yeah, I was a little bit unsure, but okay, I'm glad I guessed that one.
93, we were very fascinated by HIV in 93. This movie was a big deal. I remember.
Yeah.
My parents wouldn't let me see it, of course, but they're like, this movie's good. So I just believed them.
Yeah. Tom Hanks, did he win an Oscar in that?
That's
He
true. I think
probably
that was
did.
his Oscar
Yeah.
winner role, Tom Hanks. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Uh,
and Denzel Washington is the his lawyer in it as well. Antonio Banderas is Tom Hanks's boyfriend in it. That was like the first time I saw Antonio Banderas. I was like, wait a second, Zorro was gay?
I forgot that he was in it. I
Yeah.
knew the Tom Hanks, Denzel Washington, but I forgot about Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, Zorro, as he's known in my house.
Nice.
All right, Wes. Liar
Okay,
Liar versus Philadelphia.
if we're going on Rotten Tomatoes, oh man.
Think it through. You got to think like a critic. You got to think of all the parameters
Because
that
this
go
is a
into
critic
judging.
score.
Critic score. Yes. Think like a
Critic
critic.
score.
Take your
Okay,
emotions out of it.
Then it has to be Philadelphia, right? The critics are gonna, that's got to be higher in the critics' mind than. I think the audience, Liar Liar would win, but I would think critics probably Philadelphia.
Okay, you're going Philadelphia. Is your final answer.
Yes.
Liar Liar, 83%.
Oh man, that's high. Okay.
Philadelphia, 81%.
Oh my gosh.
An upset winner. Liar Liar over Philadelphia. I didn't believe it. I looked this up and I was like, I can't believe Liar Liar's higher than Philadelphia. Surprise.
With the critics. Yeah, that surprises me for the critic score.
Yeah, they never give comedies high scores.
Yeah, that is surprising. Usually they'd hammer it like, oh, this is a come on. This isn't a respectable. Well, that's right. Okay. Dang.
Right. 6 points. Very good score, though, Wes. You really dug deep on that one. Very, very good score. Liar, Liar, Philadelphia. Like, I don't wish that matchup on anybody. That was tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very tough.
I hope it was at least a respectable performance.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. 6 points. Very, very good. Excellent. Well, Wes Austin, you can see him on YouTube. His YouTube series is up there. He's performing a lot in Salt Lake City and beyond. He is at wesley.austin2 on Instagram. So go find him, everybody. Wes, thanks for taking the time and talking with me. I feel this was a good talk. We've never talked before.
No, yeah, it's really fun. Thank you so much for having me, Patrick. It was a blast.
That's it. That's the interview. That's the show. That is Running It Back. That is Wes Austin, lawyer, comedian, YouTuber. I thought he had a very good showing in the Rotten Tomatoes game. He was digging. If you're watching this on YouTube, you could really see the strain on his Paul Newman lookalike face. Go check him out, everyone. Check out his YouTube page and his stand-up as well. Everyone who is a subscriber to my channel, I want to thank you for doing so. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It helps the channel. I thank you personally. Plus, you can see all my other stuff up there. So thank you, Wes Austin, for joining me. For myself, Patrick Ramirez, thank you, everyone, and I will see you next time.